You know that feeling, right? That little pang of panic when you see the battery icon on your phone glow red? It feels like this inevitable betrayal by the one piece of tech we can't live without. But what if I told you it's not some random mystery? It's actually a fascinating puzzle, and we're about to solve it together.
I mean, it's the one question we all ask. We've all got that battery anxiety. Is it something I'm doing? Is my phone just getting old? Well, the truth is your phone is fighting a battle on two completely different fronts every single second of every single day. So let's dive in and see what's really going on.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll peek inside the chemical engine to see how it works. Then we'll meet the two enemies in this war, the slow chemical decay that happens over years and the invisible digital drain that happens every minute. We'll see how they team up in a vicious cycle, and then, the best part, we'll give you a battle plan so you can actually fight back.
Okay, so before we can understand why a battery breaks down, we kind of have to know how it works in the first place. So let's go inside that tiny little power plant that lives right there in your pocket.
So at its core, every single lithium-ion battery, the one in your phone, your laptop, you name it, has three main parts. You've got the anode, that's the negative side, you have the cathode, the positive side, and then there's the electrolyte, which is kind of like the highway between them. So the easiest way to picture this is to think of two rooms, the anode and the cathode. When your phone is at 100%, all the little energy particles, the lithium ions, are crammed into the anode room. When you start using your phone, they literally race through the electrolyte hallway over to the cathode room. That mad dash of ions is what creates electricity. Pretty simple, right? Well, chemistry is never that simple.
Let's meet the first enemy your battery's up against. This is the long game. This is the slow, unavoidable process that puts a finite lifespan on your battery. And here's the crazy part. This is happening right now, even if your phone is turned off and just sitting in a drawer.
And there are three main villains behind this chemical decay. First, something with a weird name, the SEI layer, which is basically clogging up the works. Second is lithium plating, a problem that our love of fast charging makes much worse. And third, the big one, the one we all kind of know but maybe don't respect enough, heat.
So what on earth is this SEI layer? Well, every time you charge your phone, a little chemical reaction forms this super thin film on the anode. A tiny bit is actually good, it's protective. But over hundreds and hundreds of charge cycles, that layer gets thicker and thicker. Remember our hallway analogy? It's like the hallway is slowly getting filled with cobwebs, making it harder and harder for those ions to push their way through. Now, we all love how fast our phones charge these days, but it definitely has a dark side. When you blast those ions back into the anode room too quickly, they can't all file in neatly. It's like a traffic jam. They pile up on the surface and turn into solid metal. That's called lithium plating. It permanently takes those ions out of the game, which lowers your battery's capacity, and it can even form these sharp, spiky structures that can seriously damage the inside of the battery.
And that brings us to the biggest enemy of all, heat. It is the absolute silent killer of batteries. Whether it's from an intense gaming session while you're charging or just leaving your phone in a hot car, heat is like a super catalyst for all the bad chemistry we just talked about. It literally cooks the battery's insides, speeding up all those decay reactions and permanently frying its ability to hold a charge.
Okay, let's switch gears to the second front in this war. If chemical decay is why your battery's lifespan is measured in years, the invisible digital drain is why its charge is measured in hours. This is the minute-by-minute battle your phone is always fighting.
So check this out. Here's something you probably don't realize. When your phone's screen is off, it's not actually asleep. Not really. Apps can send a command called a wake lock, which is basically telling your phone's brain, hey, don't power down yet, I'm doing something important. Now, if an app is badly coded, it can just forget to let go of that lock, secretly draining your battery in the background. We're talking about vampire apps that are sipping power while your phone is just sitting in your pocket.
Then there's something we can call the radio tax. Your phone's cellular radio is one of its thirstiest components. And if you're in an area with a weak signal, your phone has to crank up the power to its antenna, essentially screaming into the digital void just to find a signal. That absolutely torches your battery. Wi-Fi, on the other hand, it's way, way more power efficient.
And the drain doesn't stop there. Just think about all the background activity, all those push notifications, your email, constantly checking for new messages, social media syncing. It all adds up. Plus, a lot of those free apps aren't really free. They're constantly collecting data about you. It's called telemetry and phoning home to advertisers. The price you pay is in your battery life.
So here's where it gets really interesting. The chemical decay and the digital drain, they're not two separate problems. No, they actually work together.
They feed each other in this nasty, vicious cycle, and that's exactly why an older phone feels like it just suddenly falls off a cliff.
It creates this terrible feedback loop. See, as a battery gets older, its voltage drops. Now, to give your screen and processor the power they need from that lower voltage, the phone has to pull more electrical current. And guess what drawing more current does? It creates more heat. And what did we learn about heat? It speeds up chemical decay even faster. This is the exact reason why that last 20% of charge on an old phone can just vanish in what feels like minutes.
Wow. Okay, that sounds pretty grim, I know. But here's the good news. You are not powerless in this fight. Now that we know who the enemies are, we can put together a really effective battle plan to make your battery last so much longer. If you only remember one thing from all of this, make it this number: 20 to 80%. See, lithium-ion batteries are under the most stress when they're at 100% or close to 0%. By just trying to keep your battery in that sweet spot between 20 and 80%, you can dramatically slow down all that chemical decay. We're talking about potentially doubling its useful lifespan. It's a huge deal.
And here are a few more quick and easy tools for your toolkit. First, avoid heat like the plague. Seriously. Second, if you're going to fast charge, maybe pop the case off to let that heat escape. Third, dive into your phone's settings and do a little audit. Find those vampire apps that are using the most juice and restrict them. And finally, whenever you can, use Wi-Fi instead of cellular data to avoid paying that high radio tax.
So, what's the big takeaway here? The death of your phone's battery isn't some random act of technology failing you. It's a predictable result of chemistry and code. And by understanding these forces, you get to shift from being a frustrated victim of that little red icon to being an informed user who knows exactly how to make your favorite piece of tech last longer.
Kinda makes you think, doesn't it? We've just peeled back one tiny layer of this incredibly complex machine we carry around with us every day. Now that you know how to manage its lifeblood, what other secrets do you think it's keeping from you? Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.